My name is Belle and I am a support worker at the Young People Services. So we work with 16 to 17-year-olds in support accommodation, and we support them until they're 18 for them to be able to get on the housing, to be able to get their independence for when they're 18. So when they're ready to move on, they know what basic cleaning skills, cooking, um, keeping a hygienic and clean environment, how to look after themselves properly, booking appointments, um, understanding bills, understanding like universal credit, getting them part-time jobs, full-time jobs, and just supporting them in their everyday lives. So it's a mixture of things. So it could be anything. So if they've got trouble with their finances, they come to us and we can contact their social workers, EDT, but we do encourage them to contact them themselves. Um, just it could be anything. It's like we're support workers, we're listening ears for them. We understand that they come with like array of like multi-complex needs. They might just want to talk to you about something, just offload to you. So yeah, it's just about supporting them with their everyday lives, and no day is the same. Say for example they came into the service and they had really strong substance use issues, or they were using a lot of substances a lot, like they were really reliable on them. We would help support them to seek support from external and us as well. So that could be like CGL, to work through why they're using substances to eventually reduce or stop. So it's more about harm minimization. It's not about penalizing the young person for using substances. It's about how we can best support them to sort of cut down and eventually stop, so then they can sort of better their perspective on life, I want to say, just sort of like not being in that dark hole where they feel like that's the only escape. Same with alcohol as well. Mental health, we work with a lot of professionals such as like the LAC nurses and things like that, and CAMS. So we can put referrals in for them, get them like GP appointments if they feel like they need to talk about their mental health. So that could range from like people that may be feeling really suicidal, self harm quite a lot. So, for example, if we had a young person that was self harming, a lot of them can manage their own self harm very well, but we could also offer them like a self like first aid kit for them to use. So it's like, we know that you're going to do this, but it's about how you safely manage it. So I think our role and what we help them do and what we want to support them to do is just keeping them safe and making sure that if they're going to do anything, that they're safe and it's reducing that risk. So I think what we hope for our young people when they move on, when they're 18, is that we're able to have provided them with all the tools and skills to be able to live on their own and be successful in whatever they do. And I think because they come from backgrounds that are really, they've got a lot of trauma, they've got a lot of trauma when they come into our services. And I think it's about that positive reinforcement and empowering them into believing that actually, even though you come from not a very great situation, you are able to improve your life and you are able to do all the other things that people your age can do. And that whatever they've gone through doesn't define them in a negative way, but it does define them in a positive way, and that they can build from that. And I think the work that we do is so vital, especially at this age, because we can work with them to ensure that they've got all the right skills, got all the right independent skills, and all of that, so that they're not then left in a situation 10, 20 years later where they're ending up accessing our adult services, or then they're homeless because they weren't sort of not taught, but they weren't sort of guided. And I think that's what we provide. We provide a lot of support and guidance. The plan for having the house redecorated is going to be really positive for our young people, because although it's a home anyways, although it feels quite homely now, I think obviously there's always room for improvement, and I think the young people will appreciate it as well. Um, and it's quite an old house, it's quite an old building, so I think a lick of paint and new furnishings and stuff I think will make them feel more comfortable here. And also they're not in a normal position that other people their age are in. They've got workers in their home, they've got support workers here 24/7. So I think if we can just do this little bit that might make them that extra bit comfortable, I think it's going to be really, really positive.